Earlier in this debate, a major criticism you've had of Governor Sununu is his handling of the COVID pandemic. You've all made it clear you're against mandates. If another crisis like COVID were to happen, where a deadly, unpredictable contagion was spreading through the population, what would be your plan to contain it and to make sure that the hospitals, healthcare, and nursing home systems wouldn't collapse? Mrs. Testerman.
First of all, I would not be issuing 21 executive orders and 90 emergency orders to control the people. I would be allowing the people to exercise their individual responsibilities to assess their own situation and in what there is information out there and how they should handle it. The fact that 85% of the COVID deaths occurred in our long-term care facilities, and masking those poor people with allowing them to die by themselves or without family members was an abysmal thing to do. I would be actually making sure that we did an investigation on how and why it was occurring in those long-term care facilities.
Mr. Aciard.
As far as I'm concerned, I think we should educate, not legislate. We should be putting all the information out there, daily press conferences, making sure Granite Staters know exactly what is going on with the virus, differentiating between the numbers and the different WHO codes between dying from the virus and dying with the virus, because that unfortunately skews the numbers and it drives up fear, and the fear drove people to bad practices. When you start mandating what people do and the choices that they make, all of a sudden people get naturally oppositional to anything that you're mandating, because we're adults and sometimes we retreat to our worst nature, and just because you told me to do something is exactly why I won't do it. So if we put all the information out there, allow people to make the proper choices, and to be honest, same with our schools. Teachers did not need to mandate masks. We did not need to force it.
Same question to you, Mr. Riley.
All right, so let me go quick on this. There's a lot of info. Our state legislation, they're incredible. It's the most powerful part of our government here in New Hampshire. And if we look at the forms of government, the governor can only really do three things. He can sign a bill, he can veto a bill, and he can call an emergency session of the state legislatures. That would be the path that I would take, so we have proper representation on any emergency decisions that have to take. Governor Sununu had an opportunity to sign a bill he gave a commitment to the House legislation, and he said he was going to sign it that would reduce his ability to extend emergency orders. It was on his desk, he made the commitment, he shook hands, he gave his word, and he did what a career politician does. He vetoed the bill, and now we're stuck. I will sign that bill. It'll give 3 extensions to emergency orders of 21 days each. I'll sign it as fast as they can get it to me, but I plan on using our powerful state legislature to get the job done.